Alright, so we're just going to cover a few different subjects, because if we jumble everything together it becomes like a khichdi. So the first thing we learned is this point, that we should be careful not to divide our love, and when we start making advancement and people start respecting us, we can honor everyone but don't make deep attachments. Have your focus towards those Vaishnavas who are above you or like senior to you, who are affectionate to you, who are helping you achieve your desired bhav, spiritual ecstasy, and develop relation with them. Okay, so then the next topic is, this is from Gurudev's introduction. Gurudev said, who is qualified to hear and who is qualified to speak? It's an important topic because we're speaking now about a very esoteric, very elevated book. It's not like we're reading about the Mahabharata or something. Vilapa-kusumanjali is a very high book. So who is qualified to hear it and who is qualified to speak? These two things are very important. So first we'll talk about who is qualified to speak. And Prabhuji also talks about this. And it goes along with how this book came to be, because what happened is in the early 90s, many ISKCON sannyasis were looking for some kind of deeper harikatha, some kind of raskatha. And they started going and hearing from different Babajis. And some of the Babajis, some of them are okay, but some of them, what they do is they make it a very cheap process. For a few rupees, you can give them a donation, and they'll tell you what your spiritual name is, your Manjari Bhav, where you live, who your husband is. They haven't realized it, you haven't realized it, so it's like easy to fool people. Oh, you are this Manjari, you are that Manjari. They would say, you are Gobi Manjari. Gobi means cauliflower. Or Begun Gop, eggplant Gopa. So this is just imagination, speculation. And also, they perform what is Sahajya, means cheap imitation. So they haven't gone to that level of spiritual life where they're actually realizing their Swarup Siddha position, their spiritual form, and serving there internally. Instead, they're just imagining, and then they try to engage in this world with different people in the kind of ras pastimes that Radha and Krishna and the gopis perform. So they will start to enjoy with other people, other Matajis and Babajis, will start to enjoy thinking, oh, we are just absorbed in Krishna Leela, and this is bona fide. But this is gross materialism. Gurudev said, instead of achieving Swarup Siddha, Bhakti, perfection, you'll become like a dog or an animal, or you'll go to hell. Because you're imitating Krishna Leela instead of serving and meditating and aspiring to enter Krishna Leela. We want to enter Krishna Leela, not imitate Krishna Leela in this world. In the Bhagavatam, Sukadeva Goswami told Parikshit Maharaj that Naitat Samachadej Jatu Api Anishvara. If you are not Ishvara, like a controller, don't try to imitate an Ishvara. If you are not Shiva, don't try to drink poison and think you'll be okay. Shiva could drink the ocean of poison that came from the churning of the ocean of milk, but we cannot do that. So some people, they try to imitate Krishna Leela. Okay, Krishna had many gopis, I'll have a few gopis, and we'll also enjoy, and we'll call ourselves Babajis and Matajis. He said, if you do that, if you're always thinking of the gopis in that kind of enjoying mentality with calm material lust, and you haven't purified your heart, then it will lead you to a degraded existence. So you should be careful. So some people were hearing from these sorts of people, and then they also came to Gurudev for some shiksha, some guidance. And Gurudev saw that if I don't tell them these things, then they will go to the wrong source and they will only get inauspiciousness. Instead of getting auspiciousness, kalyan, they'll get inauspiciousness. So you should be very careful who you hear from. And Gurudev very mercifully spoke all these topics we're going to be repeating in the next maybe few weeks while we discuss Vilapa-kusumanjali. We're going to be reading from Prabhuji's commentary as well as Gurudev's commentary. So who is qualified then? So in the one verse he says, don't try to imitate, don't try to even hear or think. And the next verse he says this important verse, Vikriditam vrajavadubi ridam cha vishnu shradanvito anusuyat atavarna yadya bhaktim param bhagavati pratilabhya kamam hridrogam apu achinoti achirena dhira. This is the next verse in Vilapa-kusumanjali, in Bhagavatam, that Sukadeva Goswami says. He says that if you don't hear about Krishna Leela with the gopis, Vikriditam means the play. Vikriditam vrajavadubir. Krishna is playing playful pastimes with the Braja Gopis, the Brajavadus, the young maidens of Braj. If you don't hear about them, then you'll never be able to rid your heart of this disease of material lust, kam. This is called the disease of the heart. This is the main disease keeping us in material existence. Hridrogam. This is called the disease of the heart. And it means material lust, which is the perverted reflection of our natural state of love for God, for Krishna. And what we are trying to do is cleanse that film of, or dirt of lust from the heart. That is also when we are cleaning the mirror of the heart, Chetodarpana Marjanam, as Mahaprabhu says. That thing we are trying to clean away is this Hridroga, disease of material lust, and also this Purush Bhav, mood of being like the enjoyer, like Krishna, instead of being the servant, or the beloved instead of being the lover. We want to offer our love to Krishna and serve Krishna instead of trying to enjoy everything as if we were God. So therefore we have to hear these pastimes. But who to hear from? So it said, Shradanvito anusuyat atavarnayat. Also how to hear. You have to hear with faith. Shradanvito anusuyat. And you should also, after you hear with faith, you should repeat. So that's why we're actually here repeating, because certainly we may say, oh, we're not qualified, we're not on that level. But this is the process. It said you should hear the pastimes from the bona fide source. Hear these pastimes from the pure devotee. Okay? Shradanvito anusuyat, and then also you should repeat. But repeating doesn't mean concocting. We're not trying to concoct something, we're repeating what we've heard and speaking from what we've heard from the Vaishnavas only. That's our process. And then Bhaktim Param Bhagavati, then transcendental devotion will arise, Bhaktim Param Bhagavati, Pratilabhya Kamam, and then Kam will leave, and then we'll be free of the Hridrog. So that's why we're hearing. We have to hear. Hearing is the process, but we have to hear from the right source. It said, Avaishnavad mukud girnam putam harikatamritam shravanam naiva kartavyam sarpo chistam yatabaya. That if you hear from someone who is not a real Vaishnava, they may appear to be a Vaishnav, but they have many different moods. Some people speak Bhagavatam very sweetly, but they're actually Mayavadis, and they try to hide it, but they slip it in somewhere. Oh, we'll also Krishna, we'll become the gopis. You know, they put in some kind of, this is called Ahangarupasana, that I can be Lalita, I can be Vishaka, I can be Radha, I can be Krishna, and we can enjoy like this in this world also. This is a kind of Mayavad, impersonalism. So hearing from them, they're not a Vaishnav, then it's like taking milk that has been touched by the lip of a serpent. If you give milk to a serpent and the serpent touches it, its poison goes inside the milk, and you take that, you'll be poisoned. So therefore, we don't hear from the incorrect source. But we need to hear and we need to repeat. So who to hear from then? It said, Nivritta tarsher upagiya manat bhavosadat shrota manobiramat ka uttama sloka gunanuvadat puman virajeta vinapasugnat. That hear from someone who is Nivritta tarsher. Nivritta tarsher means free of material thirst or yearnings or desires. Someone like Prabhuji is like lives very simply. You can see Prabhuji's room. It's like a very small room, very noisy, not so nice air flowing. He has this huge temple, Radhakunj, 100 rooms, and he could make his own room very nicely. But he won't even make his own room. He sleeps on a thin mat on the floor. There's no material desires, all day just going on parikrama, cooking, cleaning, serving the devotees, going to the kirtan, going to all the artis, attending more of the program than anyone else does, and serving more than anyone else does, even though he's the Mahanta, even though he's like Acharya, also like in the mid-60s, all day and night serving, no material thirsts. Said Nivritta Tarsher. One way you can see if someone's Nivritta Tarsher, they're continuously following bhakti without any slip. Like Bhakti Siddhanta said in the one article, that Gorkshadas Babaji Maharaj, I accept him as my guru because my nature is that I like to find faults. And I would never be able to accept a guru if I were to see that they are doing bhakti 99.9% of the time, but 0.1% of the time they're engaged in Maya. Then I would not accept them. So this is what it means to follow someone who is Nivritta Tarsher. That Nivritta Tarsher Vaishnav, they're doing bhakti 100% of the time. Because if you're not doing bhakti 100% of the time, there's still some material hankering, material thirst, or some weakness of heart, some hridaya durbalya. You're still struggling somewhere, or you're on the Kanishta level. You're not purified yet. So we follow those who are Nivritta Tarsher, we hear from them. And it said, Bhavosadat Shruddhi Manobiramat. Hearing from those people, that is the medicine, Bhavosadat Shruddhi, that is the medicine that cures us of our material contamination, our material disease. That is the medicine, hearing from them. And who will not hear from them? Those people who are like killers of the self, or it said, Vilapa-kusumanjali. Pasugnat means someone who kills animals or kills themselves. People are very cruel-hearted, they will not like to hear. So that's who we hear from. Someone who is Nivritta Tarshed. And then from them we should hear this Vikritam Brajavadubhiritam cha Vishnu. We should hear the pastimes of Krishna with the gopis from those Vaishnavas who are free of material desires, who are only absorbed in their spiritual relationship and service to Radha Krishna. We hear from them, and then we will repeat what we've heard from them, because then it becomes a deep impression in the heart. Because if we hear and then we think about it, smaran, we reflect on it, and then we repeat it, do kirtan, then it becomes very fixed in the heart. That's why we hear, and then we repeat, and we remember. This is called Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. These three things are very important. We hear, we repeat, and then we think about it. We remember it. We reflect upon it. This is our process. Our main process in bhakti is these three limbs. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. Hearing, chanting, and remembering. Okay? So therefore, we're very fortunate. We'll be hearing from Srila Gurudev and Prabhuji, and we'll continue.